This is Three Deep South, a special episode of sorts. This is our first episode that's actually about the playoff and what's going to happen. So
Yep.
hopefully we get to do many more of these in the future. But no, man, I'm excited. This is a exciting time. We got a couple of real interesting games to start off with. We're not just going to talk about the first round, though. We're actually going to give our whole playoff prediction, pick our national champion, go through that whole shebang. So, but first, before we begin, is there any news that piqued your interest going into these playoffs? It could be about anything.
I'm kind of anxious to see how the teams that are losing coordinators and head coaches. I mean, not really head coaches as much. They've kind of already kind of figured that out. Like Lane Kiffin's gone, but they've kind of figured it out and stuff like that. But I'm anxious to see, like, Oregon's losing both defensive and offensive coordinators. Ohio State's losing their offensive coordinator. I'm sure there's two or three other ones that I don't really know about, but those are the big ones that people have kind of talked about. I'm anxious to see how the head coach kind of handles that because Nick Saban, when he was doing it, he let Lane Kiffin go before their national championship run, but he decided to keep Kirby, and it kind of screwed him over. They ended up losing that game. That Kirby was still the defensive coordinator while he was, going to take the job at Georgia. I'm not saying that, had direct implications on them losing that game, but how much energy and time and mental fortitude can you give to a program if you're supposed to be taking over another program? That's kind of where I'm at, and that's what I want to see.
That's really scary for Oregon.
Yes,
because they don't have a guy they can move up.
No, and like Dan Lanning, like Ohio State losing our offensive coordinator, does it suck? Yeah, kind of. But honestly, from what I've heard from kind of inside the program, is like Brian Hartline called plays, but he had a short leash. So, like, if Ryan Day didn't like the play, it was kind of like – it's kind of like this, Mason. Like, if I wrote our whole script of the show and then I sent it to you and you read off the script, but I wrote the script, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. Yeah. Like, Brian Hartline was calling the plays, but Ryan Day was kind of telling what to call from what I understood. Now, he still kind of gave him some leeway, but in big moments, Ryan Day was calling the plays. But for Oregon, I mean, it's going to be a big thing because, like you said, Dan Lanning doesn't call offensive plays. So who's going to be that offensive coordinator? And, I mean, he might be all right on the defensive side, but I'm anxious. That's my whole thing of the playoffs is I'm anxious to see what team can prevail and be the best team.
Well, and the reason why I think it's worrisome for Oregon is it's not like Oregon's offensive coordinator specifically is going to USF or going to be a coordinator somewhere else. Or I mean, he's taking over an SEC job. I mean, it's Kentucky, but Kentucky has expectations. I mean, or they wouldn't have just fired their coach. I think it's very. I mean, he's got to be playing two roles right now, and they got a game. I guess their game's Saturday. Yeah. So I'm just interested to see. I mean, I don't think they're gonna have any problem with James Madison. So I mean, I'll go ahead and say in the first game that we're because the way I'm gonna look at it is just from top down. I'm just looking at the ESPN pick, but the first game we were going to talk about is Oregon James Madison. I think that this is a blowout. The spread's like 21 or it's 21 and a half. I like Oregon by more. Personally, I just think James Madison's way over their head here. And I think Oregon has this game finished by halftime. I don't think it's particularly close. Is there anything specific that you think about this game?
I mean, not really. I think the Tulane game will be closer than this game. That's just my personal opinion. That's not a shot at Ole Miss. It's just like when you lose your head coach and your head coach is that monumental to your program and you've already played Tulane. Tulane's probably got a little better throughout the season. And I know Ole Miss has gotten better throughout the season too, but it's easier when you've already played a team once. You kind of see what goes on, and that little thing of overconfidence creeps into your head when you're Ole Miss. About this game specifically, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we can go in through like, well, JMU doesn't run the ball well, and Oregon has this, and blah 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 blah. Like, what? It's a blowout. So I don't really have anything. I don't have any input on that game. No. I mean,
if I'm parlaying it, I'm taking the Oregon spread.
Yeah, what is it, like 21.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take the Oregon spread too.
The next game we're going to talk about is on December 19th. That's Friday at 7 p.m. It's
big game.
There's two real big ones this first week of the playoff. This is one of the big ones. Alabama goes on the road to Norman to play the Oklahoma Sooners. The spread on that game right now is Oklahoma 1.5. The keys, I hate picking this game because yes, Oklahoma, I think, will win. I do think. But the keys to the game to me is, can Oklahoma replicate what they've done to beat Alabama the last 2 years? They force turnovers. I mean, I think there was a stat. I was listening to Josh Pate earlier. He was talking about Oklahoma started like every drive in Alabama territory this last time they played.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Alabama's had time to get healthy. I don't think they're 100% because they were banged up pretty good. But if Alabama is healthier, that passing game clicks a little better. Jam Miller should be back, and I don't think that's just the fix to Alabama's run game, but it helps. I just feel like this is a spot where I kind of like Alabama. I think it's hard to replicate turnovers. That's just something that's like replicating shooting stars to me. It's just hard to predict. And you really can't bank on turnovers, especially Ty Simpson's been pretty efficient all year. And a lot of those turnovers were fumbles and I mean just random things. I think if Alabama can limit turnovers, make Oklahoma's offense beat you. That's the key to this whole thing. It doesn't matter if you're Indiana, Ohio State, Texas Tech, whatever. If you're gonna lose to Oklahoma, it's because you allowed Oklahoma's offense to have opportunity after opportunity to beat you. That's not to say that Oklahoma's not a good football team, but Oklahoma has thrived all year on forcing mistakes and then capitalizing. Limit the mistakes and you probably win the game. So I think I'm going to ride with Alabama here. I think I'm taking the Crimson Tide. I think they win this game, personally.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see. So I'm trying to pull it up. That's what I was doing while you were talking. But I'm anxious to see because the whole – and I was big on John Mateer at the beginning of the season. I was like, this dude could win the Heisman, blah, blah, blah. I'm anxious to see – like, everybody always gave him the excuse of, like, oh, well, he's hurt. He's not fully healthy. He's hurt. It's like, okay, I hear you. But, like, was he that good? I mean, he threw for 270, one touchdown and one interception against Michigan, and he rushed for 74 yards. Temple, he threw for 282, one interception, one touchdown, rushed for 63 yards. Auburn threw for 271. And then did he get hurt in the Auburn game or was it the Texas game?
Yeah, it was the Auburn game.
Okay, so like the games before that, like you don't really see the competition. I know the first game against Illinois State, he threw for like 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But like for all the hype that he was getting of like, oh my gosh, he's a crazy, like, you know, kind of what I was giving him. But then I kind of toned off throughout the season. But everybody acted like he was just like, oh, this dude's the next, you know, Cam Ward. After the season started, I was there before the season, and I kind of seen him play. And I mean, I thought he was good, but they were like wanting to anoint him the Heisman in like week 3.
He won the September Heisman.
Yeah, and then after the injury, he has not been anywhere close to the same. But the competition also got a little better because that's what happens. Like, yeah, he played Michigan at the beginning of the season. Would you say Michigan's better now than what they were in week 3? Yeah, probably every team is that is somewhat comparable to a top 25 program. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, unless you lose somebody or whatever.
Would I say Michigan's better today?
Today, no.
Today?
No. They had to come up with a whole plan B for the playoffs. But you get what I'm saying. Like that, just like Texas was not the same when Ohio State played them, and Ohio State wasn't the same. So what I'm getting at is like then when he started playing a little bit better competition, maybe Texas, he was hurt, so I'm not going to count that one. LSU is I would say a top 25 defense. He threw for 300 yards. He had 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and he only rushed 8 times. Missouri has a pretty good defense, 46% completion rate. So it's like my whole thing is like, okay, all these people have been talking about how good John Mateer was before he got hurt. He's had a whole month to get healthy. We should see the beginning of the season, John Mateer, if he's really that good, especially against the Alabama defense that struggles to stop the run. Now, they're great in the pass, but I'm anxious to see, can Oklahoma exploit Alabama's run defense with John Mateer, with their run game, because there's no going back. It's not like, oh, we need to save him. Well, the saving him's done. He's a running quarterback. What I worry about with Alabama is they are very inconsistent when it comes to being able to throw the ball, being able to catch the ball. They don't run the ball. They're god awful at running the ball. So my thing is like, is Alabama going to be able to thread that needle? Like we heard it from Josh Pate. Are they going to be able to thread that needle against this Oklahoma team? I just don't think so. And honestly, I think Oklahoma might beat them by more. I could see Oklahoma beating them. It is hard, but if I had to ride or die on it, I would say 17-7 Oklahoma, maybe. I mean, it might be a higher scoring game than that, but I just think Brett Venables is a good enough and the thing is like his defense is so hard to pick up on because they do so many different things and like they're real blitz heavy, so it's a real feast or famine. And like Ty Simpson went on a crazy roller coaster and it's on a downhill slide right now, so it's like, do you trust Ty Simpson in the passing game of Alabama to pretty much carry that offense into the end zone against an Oklahoma defense that's probably a top 10, maybe a top 5 defense? I don't trust it. That's why I think Oklahoma's going to win. And I think it's going to be a bigger score margin than what it was in the first meeting.
Let's move down the list here. December 20th, Tulane versus Ole Miss. Also, somehow keep track of who you're picking, which obviously right now it's easy, but
yeah. No, I got
that way whenever we go to the next one. Tulane at Ole Miss, 2:30. Okay, so I know there's a lot of stuff going on around Oxford right now. Lane Kiffin left. They painted the end zones a different color of blue.
Yeah.
Charlie Wass, Pete Gold. I mean, they got all this stuff going on. Lane Kiffin and the hot yoga. Lane Kiffin, DMing co-eds. Anyways,
they've been calling it the Kiffin files instead of the Epstein files. They've been calling it the Kiffin.
The Lanestein, yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't think any of it matters, to be honest with you.
No.
Kind of like I talked about with Oregon's offensive coordinator. John Summerall's at Florida. He's probably in Gainesville. I mean, would you say if you had to bet on it, do you think he's been in Gainesville this week? I would say.
I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe not, but I would say 1,000%. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, why would you? Like, actually, because they just donate. Didn't he just donate like $100,000 to do it? Yeah, he's gone. That was his like, hey, don't kill me for missing the playoffs.
Right. Like he's gonna be at the game, but I mean, really, is he at the game up here? Anyway,
he's gonna be like this right here, Mason. He's gonna be at the game. But I don't. I'm at the podcast, but I don't have any idea what you're saying because I don't have my headphones in. I'm checked out, bud. I mean, I don't see how in the world he would be any kind of remotely close to being checked in. And I think that goes into a lot of like the calendar and what calendar we're in.
But I think Ole Miss has a lot to prove, essentially. And with all this going on around the program, Tulane's coach is this. I mean, Tulane's going to be motivated, but I don't think it matters. Ole Miss is also going to be motivated. Ole Miss also hasn't played in a month. Ole Miss, I mean, in every statistical category is better than Tulane. That place is going to be rocking. It only seats like 50, 60,000, but it's going to be rocking. It's going to be a super exciting environment. I think Trinidad Chambliss, Kawan Lacey, their defense is okay. They're good enough to beat them. What was the score the first time they played? 40 something to 10.
Yeah,
40 something to 7. I don't know if it's that bad, but I don't think it's much better. Is what I'm getting at. I don't think there's much to talk about on my end. I think it's a blowout.
Yeah. I mean, I think they might keep it close for a little bit longer. For a little bit longer. But I could see it being like 35-21. And in the fourth quarter with like 10 minutes left, they sit everybody and start watching Georgia film on the sideline.
That's
what I would try to do. I'm bombs over Baghdad with Trinidad Shameless. I'm trying to get up like 35-0 at half, and then I'm benching everybody and leaving my starters in the locker room, and they're watching the film the whole second half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really all I have to say. That's kind of like the same thing with the Oregon game. Like, I think this game could be closer because of everything I talked about, but I think
Tulane's a better team than James Madison.
Yes. Yeah. And
I just it's close enough.
No, and I don't. They have already played them, so that's going to help Tulane. I'm not saying they're going to come out and upset them, but it does help when you're seeing schemes before your guys, have played before, and it puts a little too much confidence in Ole Miss. But I think they also have a lot to prove. I think Ole Miss is going to win, and it's going to be a blowout. I would probably take the Ole Miss spread too.
Let's talk about the next one. This is the one I'm most excited for.
Yes.
ESPN is doing their best impression of Big Noon, dude. This is insane. Okay?
Yeah.
If I would have told you at the beginning of the year, the Miami Hurricanes in the first round are going to go to Kyle Field to play Texas A&M, you'd be like,
night game.
Prom time.
Yeah. Gotta be.
Instantly. You'd be like, this is the biggest event in maybe college football history, as far as spectacle.
Or if I told you that JMU was going to Oregon and Miami was going to Texas A&M, and it's the same exact day.
Yeah.
What game is on at noon and what game is on at night?
Not the one. I mean, not the way it is, but yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, Kyle Field is going to be probably magnitude earthquake. 3.7 on the Richter scale or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. Yeah. It's going to be super fun to watch. I'm super excited for that one. Keys to the game, Justin. I will let you go first on this one.
Carson Beck not shitting down his leg. That's I don't think Texas A&M. I think they're explosive enough to exploit Miami's defense, but I think Miami's defense is too good for this Texas A&M offense. They've played runaround quarterbacks before. Yes, Marcel Reed's probably a little bit better, but they've had a whole weekend or a whole month to prepare for him. My thing is Carson Beck gonna piss down his leg? He has in every big moment he's played in for like the last 2 years. That's literally it for me. If he doesn't piss down his leg and he at least plays quarterback like he can, I think they win, and I think they might win pretty handedly. If he doesn't and he throws 1 or 2 interceptions and Texas A&M exploits it, I mean, Texas A&M could win, obviously. Texas A&M could come out and beat Miami 42-10 because that's what kind of offense they have. Well, not 42-10, probably 42-35 because their defense is atrocious. But, that's what type of offense Texas A&M has. I just don't think – I don't know. I don't want to say – I think Texas A&M is going to win. That wouldn't be my preferred matchup as an Ohio State fan. Just because there's a lot of history behind Miami and Ohio State. We pretty much ruined their program back in 2002. That's what I'm going to say. But
did y'all or did the refs?
I don't know. We won, didn't we? I guess we might have paid off the refs for that one, and then we got screwed in like 3 other ones.
Yeah.
But no, I would rather see Miami, but play wise, I don't really care which one we play. But in this game specifically, I'm gonna just pick Miami because I think their team as a whole is better. They're better on the defensive side of the ball, and they're better on the offensive side of the ball when it comes to consistency.
Mm-hmm. I will say what worries me for Miami, even just if I'm a Miami fan or if I'm just a casual onlooker of Miami football. Obviously,
Yeah.
I hate them. Obviously, I hate them. But I mean, whatever. I think what worries me for Miami is Carson Beck under pressure is not good.
Yep.
He
Nope.
hasn't been good.
Nope.
Texas A&M does get pressure on the quarterback. Now, it's not
Yeah.
every down, but if you put yourself in a situation where it's 2nd and 8,
Yeah.
3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and then you got 100, how many, 150,000? That's not actually that many, but it's a lot of people
Yeah.
screaming down on you. Carson Beck's got to make decisions in that. I don't know if I trust that.
Yeah, no, I don't trust it, but I'm gonna put my faith in it.
Yeah, and especially with the how explosive Texas A&M is. Let's say
Yeah.
the way that let's just script this game a little bit. Let's say Texas A&M stops them and then gets the
Yeah.
ball and Marcel Reed busts a 50-yard run and they kick
Yeah.
a field goal. Let's just say they kick a
Yeah.
field goal. They didn't have to score a touchdown. That's a lot of pressure in a place like that in a playoff game.
Yeah.
And we have not seen Carson Beck perform. I mean,
Yeah.
ever since he was at Georgia, he has fallen short in these environments, and he's fallen short when a defense can get pressure on you. You're going to be in a crazy environment, and you're going to be, I mean, you're in a huge pressure environment, and you're in the playoff.
Yeah. I mean, and my whole thing is too, with this game specifically, is like, has Texas A&M really played anybody?
No.
The only team that they really played was Texas, and they
Mm-hmm.
lost. And I don't want to say they got drugged, but they didn't.
No,
they didn't look. Yeah, they didn't look good. So like, my whole question is like, can they move the ball on Miami? I mean, I know they're going to take shot plays. They're gonna get theirs, but like, I mean, consistently move the ball.
I would say yes, but this is why I'm.
And that's not like saying that Miami has this crazy good defense.
They
I
have
just
a good
mean
front seven. They get pressure.
Yes.
They have a decent front seven.
Yeah. So outside of the explosive shot plays, like, can Texas A&M move the ball? Is my question.
I don't think moving the ball necessarily is going to be the problem. I think Marcel Reed is prone to mistakes.
Yep. Yeah.
And if you've watched Miami this year, Miami can run the ball. Now,
yeah,
I don't think that they're not going to run the ball for 4 quarters. They're not going to impose it on you. But whenever they have had a lead throughout the season, they've been able to consistently have a run game that can kind of put games away. And I think that's important for this game because you're going to have to get rid of the crowd somehow. And I don't think Miami's good enough to just grab a 21-point lead and put them out of the game. No. So I think you're going to have to do it in a sense of you're going to have to just kill them with just 1,000 cuts is what I think. And I think Miami is capable of that. I think it's very important, again, to protect Carson Beck. Get the ball out of his hands fast. Don't leave a decision in Carson Beck's arm for you to win the game. You will lose. I think Miami wins the game though. I think this is a pucker one for me. Like I would not put any money on this game.
No, I'm not putting money on it either.
But I am excited for it. Let's move on to the next round. Let's start off at the top here. You got Oregon and Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. Is the Orange Bowl played in Miami still, or somewhere in Florida?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. Texas Tech coming off of a bye. Last time they played was the conference championship. They beat the hell out of BYU.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick this game first. I'm going to let you go.
I think I think I'm going to go with Oregon just because I think Dan Lanning. I hate this because I do like Texas A&M, but like I think if there's a team that matches up the best against Texas, not
Tech.
Texas A&M, Texas Tech, it is Oregon because they do dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They run the ball extremely well. They defend the run extremely well, and that's kind of what Texas Tech's bread and butter is. I love the linebacker story. I love all that, but like we also have to be honest with ourselves and understand that there are levels to this. And Oregon is it's not like they're the old Oregon. It's not like, they're like I don't who it's not like they're like a Texas A&M. Like Texas A&M kind of lives and breathes off big plays, shot plays. They run the ball decent, but they're not like, I wouldn't say that they dominate the line of scrimmage. Would you agree with that? Like they do have a good front seven on the defense, but it's not like their offensive line. Like Oregon runs the ball really well. They do like throwing the ball, but they run it really well. I think this game is like a 7.5-point spread, is what I heard. Like if it ends up being that, I'm going to pick Oregon. I love Texas Tech. I like their jerseys. I like, the way they do things, kind of how they exploded out of nowhere. Obviously, it came with money, but I just think Oregon's going to be too much for them. But it's hard because you don't really know anything about Texas Tech.
Well, see, I let you pick first because I thought it would clear some stuff up in my mind, and it hasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
just off vibes. Vibes, I picked Texas Tech. There really wasn't a great reason. I mean, their defense forces turnovers. That's kind of been a thing all year, but the offenses that they're forcing turnovers on, I'm not trying to shit on the Big 12. I'm not.
Yeah. Yep.
But the quality of competition in the Big 12 is lower. And I don't think BYU is that good. And if that's the second best team in your conference, like, I don't know. They lost the game to Arizona State. And Arizona State had all sorts of issues on offense all year.
Yeah. Now, I will say they also didn't have their starting quarterback.
Yeah, they didn't have their quarterback in that game. I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with Texas Tech just because that was my gut reaction.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. I don't like
it. I like Oregon in that game. And I think they might, I don't know. I think it could get sexual, honestly.
The next one, Indiana, Alabama. For me, I have Indiana, Alabama. You have Oklahoma, Indiana. I don't think it matters either way.
No. I think Oklahoma gives them a closer game.
Yeah.
I don't feel like – because here's what I'll say. Indiana is a very good football team. If they play Ohio State again or 10 times, Ohio State probably wins 7 of them. But I do think that's just my personal opinion.
You're probably right.
But Indiana is extremely good. Their corner, the 5'9" Pons kid, ridiculous. He's really good. Now, he kind of got torched by Ohio State. He gave up like 140 yards, I think. But you have 2 first-round receivers that are 6'3" and 6'4". Alabama doesn't have that. Mm-hmm. They might be shifty, but that plays into what style of player he is. Mm-hmm. He struggles with big physical receivers. And I think this game could get kind of ugly, personally. If it's against Alabama or if it's against Oklahoma. If it's against Oklahoma, I think it's going to be that's who I picked, so it's going to be against Oklahoma is what I think. That game could be very close to what the Ohio State-Indiana game was at the beginning, but then towards the end of the third quarter, fourth, I think Indiana probably runs away with it just because they're too much. They're too much, if that makes sense, for Oklahoma. And Oklahoma's defense is going to be on the field like the whole game.
Yeah, that would be what would worry me in that situation is Oklahoma's defense would have to hold up for 4 full quarters.
Yeah.
And
And
Fernando Mendoza, I
Indiana,
mean,
and the thing is too, Indiana has been in close game after close game after close game, and somehow the Down syndrome accountant figures out how to get them out of it.
well, and that's what worries me the most about them though is being in close games. You're not going to win them all,
No.
and in a situation like this, I mean, like the quarterfinals of the playoffs, that would be
Yeah.
a bad time to kind of fall apart. But
Yeah.
we've seen it before.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pick Indiana. I don't think Indiana struggles. I think they win.
No.
The next one, Ole Miss, Georgia. I really want to ride with the Rebels. I really do. I really, really, really want to pick Ole Miss. I do. But I think Georgia's peaking at the right time. I think Gunnar Stockton's playing his best football. Their defense
Yeah.
has looked better over the last month, I guess you could say. Um, I do think Ole Miss gives them matchup problems. I think Ole Miss can run the ball really
Yeah.
well. Trent Chambliss doesn't turn the ball over. I I almost think it's going to be a replay of the game that happened in Athens. I think Georgia just outpaces them, and I think Ole Miss gets stopped. I mean, maybe 3 times, and that's the difference in the game.
Yeah. I'm torn on this game because I want both teams to win. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I want Georgia to win because the last time Ohio State played Georgia, now that's given if we make it past the next round. I think we are. But anyways, the last time Ohio State played Georgia, it went down to the field goal. I had the worst start to a New Year's in my entire life. So I want
That was the worst
rematch.
field goal I've ever seen, by the way.
Yeah, bad, except maybe the Indiana versus Indiana to kind of tie the game up. But anyways,
That one was bad
I
too.
want Georgia for that reason. I want there to be like a redemption tour type thing. But I also want Ole Miss to win for own personal reasons because I do want Ohio State to play Ole Miss so bad. I think we're going to tell a lot about this Ole Miss team by the way that they come out against Tulane. And you can tell within the first half how they're playing. If they're really sparking on all cylinders, it's like, okay, let's see what you got. I do agree with you about Georgia. I think they're clicking at the right time. Let me go back and look at their schedule just because, like, are we are we giving them credit for clicking at the right time because how they beat Alabama? Because
I would say how they beat Texas and then how they beat Georgia
yeah,
Tech and then Bama. Yeah.
yeah, they did beat Texas pretty handedly. I mean, I'm not going to take that away from them. Gunnar Stockton played well. He only had 5 incompletions. Um, they do kind of struggle to run the ball, but it's not like a bad struggle. I would say they run the ball about like Ohio State does, where the
Just
run game
average.
is there. Yeah, the run game's there, but it's not like something great. Um, it's not that they looked bad against Georgia Tech, but it's not like they looked good either. That game kind of worries me, especially since it was in Atlanta. It was like they say it was a neutral site game, but that was a Georgia game to me. I mean, I know Georgia Tech's in Atlanta, but we all know how that game is. Um, and Gunnar Stockton had 10 incompletions against that team. Listen, I don't want to sit here and act like I'm gonna hate on Georgia the whole time because I don't like. I was on a level with Georgia towards the middle of the season where it was like I think they're overrated. They have gotten extremely better, but we can't. And when I say we, I mean just media as a whole. Like we can't build Georgia up for beating Alabama the way that they did, but then also act like Alabama's just not as good as they used to be because they're not. This Oklahoma team beat them 2 weeks prior, and then Georgia kind of mopped the floor with them. But we can't tout Georgia for being this crazy team and beating Alabama, but then also act like Alabama's not that good. You know what I mean? that's kind of where I'm at. It's kind of like this thing to where it's like, oh, Georgia's defense really good because they held Alabama to -1 yards rushing, and it's like, yeah, but we've been talking shit about Alabama's run game the whole year. So I'm anxious to see what this game is like because it was super close at the beginning of the season. Um, with all that being said, I mean, I gotta pick Georgia too. I just think
Yeah,
that
I hate to do
I
it. Really, I
yeah.
hate to
And
do it.
now if Ole Miss and Aaron's gonna hate to hear this, but if
Mhm.
Ole Miss still had Lane Kiffin and they were still intact and he signed an extension, I'm probably picking Ole Miss.
Yeah, and I might flip that. I mean, whenever we see them play Tulane, I might just hop
That's
back
what I
on the
mean.
Ole Miss
Yeah,
train. I don't know, but
that's what I mean. There's just too many question marks, and I think Georgia is just the easier team to ride with.
yeah, as we sit here today on December 18th, before we've seen Ole Miss play,
Yeah.
we got to ride with Georgia. Next one, I have Miami, Ohio State. Is that what you got too? I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I don't feel comfortable about it, but yeah, I have
yeah,
Miami,
yeah,
Ohio State.
that's how I am. I'll let you take the lead on this one.
I think the key to the game for me is Ohio State going to trot out 3 and 4 tight ends in the red zone, and anytime. Are we going to see different schemes on the offensive side of the ball? And can we keep Julian Sand protected? He's been fine under pressure. I mean, he had a good game against Indiana. Did he look the best? No. I think the reason we lost that game was play calling and coaching. He looked fine. He had the same numbers as Fernando Mendoza. Now, the end of the game, he threw that long pass, which kind of skews it, but he was under pressure the whole night. He got sacked 5 times, but he statistically over the whole season, when he's under pressure, he tends to have a better completion percentage. So I think he's going to be fine. The defense is going to be what the defense is. Indiana was like a top 5 scoring offense, and we held them to 13 points. Um, and they only gave up 1 touchdown. So it's not like, and that was kind of a weird shot play type thing on that touchdown or that got them down there. I think Ohio State probably walks Miami. I would say like a 28-10 game, maybe 28-7. And I think this is where you're really going to see Carson Beck crumble.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's kind of my takeaway is Ohio State's front seven, especially the linebackers, are good enough to move side to side, and that's kind of
Yeah.
where what that's kind of where you have to beat Miami is getting to their playmakers. The one
Yeah.
thing that does worry me is what's his
It's
name?
Malachi Tony.
Malachi Tony. That
Yeah.
guy worries me against anyone.
Yeah.
Like,
And what sucks is I don't know if we have the speed to keep up with them. And if we're going to play one of our safeties over the top, it really hinders Caleb Downs being able to do what makes him a game changer.
yeah, coming down into the box and
Yeah.
making plays in the run game and all
Yeah.
that. I agree. I
Yeah.
do think Ohio State wins, but if there was a reason why Ohio State lost to
Yeah.
Miami, it would be Miami could effectively run the ball, so they would keep the game out of Carson Beck's hands, and Malachi Tony would have to play like an explosive game.
Yeah.
On the flip side, if they played A&M, I would feel better, honestly. I don't think A&M's defense is good enough to
No.
hinder Ohio State in any way, and I also don't
Yeah.
think their offense is consistent enough to have something to fall back on against a
Yeah.
team like
And
Ohio State.
and I think Arvell Reese really takes out the whole quarterback run game, which is
Mhm.
like one of those things to where that's kind of what Texas A&M kind of, I don't want to say they live and die by, but it definitely helps them out.
Mhm. But yeah, so we're both picking Ohio State in that game.
Yeah.
Let's move on to what we would have in the semis. I have Texas Tech, Indiana. You got Oregon, Indiana.
Yeah.
Again, I think Indiana's defense is good enough to limit a team like Texas Tech,
Yeah.
and I think
For
their
sure.
offense is they're not very mistake prone. They don't make a lot of bad plays. They don't have a lot of negative plays. They don't turn the ball over. And I think that's how you beat a team that relies a lot on turnovers in the games they have won to kind of bury teams. I think
Yeah.
Indiana just controls that game and wins it in a very boring fashion. That would be the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. I think that would be a very boring game. Like, I don't think it's. I would like Oregon to be there to make it a little bit more interesting, but in the scenario that Texas Tech wins, I think Indiana wins again.
Yeah. So this one is extremely hard for me because I have my rational thoughts that
Mm-hmm.
thinks Oregon's going to win just because of kind of playing the team twice. Dan Lanning is a really good coach. Um, they're more talented. Everybody in the playoffs besides Tulane and JMU is probably more talented
More
than
talented.
Indiana.
Yeah.
But then the other
On
side of
paper.
my brain, the brain that wants Indiana to go to the national championship because I want Indiana again, tells me Indiana's going to win. I think Kirk Cignetti is in this weird thing to where, like, I think he could get a mouse ready to, like, run through a brick wall, and I would believe in the mouse. Like, he's that type of coach. Um, and I think I've told you this before, Mason, and this is like deep conspiracy, like college football kind of thoughts or whatever. So Kirk Cignetti coached under Nick Saban for a little bit, for like 2 or 3 years, I think. Nick Saban has always been known as the coach to prov- help coaches get to the next level. Offensive coordinator jobs at a different, place. Head coaching jobs at a different place. Move coaches up in his system to get them to, go to a different job. Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, like all these places. Um, I mean, you got Mario Cristobal, like all these coaches did all this. There's only, I want to say, now there obviously there's coaches that just aren't good coaches that didn't work out for Nick Saban, but there's only one coach that, like, Nick Saban really didn't help and push to get a big time job.
It was Kurt Cignetti.
Yeah, was Nick Saban scared of Kirk Cignetti?
Maybe.
I mean, bro, okay, listen, I'm really not trying to glaze this dude because I hate him. Like, I do not like Kirk Cignetti. I think he's cocky. I think he's arrogant, and he gets on my nerves, especially because he beat us this year, and I'm really hoping we get to play him again because I want to dog walk him. But, like, I mean, he turned Indiana, which is the worst football program in college football history, into the #1 seed in the playoffs, an undefeated season, and beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Imagine if he was at LSU or Georgia or Ole Miss or Texas A&M, like Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon. Like, imagine if he was somewhere where he had the help of the brand to recruit. I mean,
It'd be terrifying.
is he losing a national championship?
I mean, eventually.
Eventually, yeah. I'm just saying though, like what he is doing, and this is off of a kind of a whim, but like if he wins a national championship this year, count your days. Ryan Silverfield, you got like 3 years, bud, and if you don't take us to an SEC championship, you better kick the road. Alex Golish, you better get to Auburn to the SEC championship, or at least to the playoffs in 3 years, or you're kicking the road. Kirk Cignetti did it.
Yeah, Summerall, Pete Golding,
Yeah, all those
all
coaches.
yeah.
And like you can't say that he had some crazy easy schedule that got him there. He played Oregon at Oregon. He played Ohio State. They played one or two other teams. I'm not
They
saying
played
that they just
Illinois. They played
yeah. I'm not
Penn
saying that
State.
yeah, I'm not saying they went through some gauntlet, but
They definitely had a harder schedule this year than they did last year, without a doubt.
yes, 1,000%. So I don't know, man. It's just a wild case with the whole Indiana thing. But I do have Indiana winning. I would like Oregon to win, but I just think Indiana I think Ohio State and Indiana are on a crash course to meet back up in the national championship because, yes, Oklahoma has a good defense. Georgia has a good defense. But Ohio State and Indiana have a good enough defense to where they can win with 14 points against a good team. They can play somebody that's a good team and win with 14 points. And I don't think Georgia has that type of defense, and I don't think Oregon has that type of defense.
So I'm assuming you're picking Ohio State against Georgia in the next semifinal.
Yeah, I am. Just because I do think Oregon or Georgia is improved, but I think Ohio State is a more complete team. Mm-hmm. Offensively, defensively, they're just a more complete team. I think they faced a better defense than Georgia, and I think the biggest thing with Ohio State is it's scary because they've lost a game. When a good team loses a game, it's not a good thing. Did I want them to lose the Big Ten championship? No. I wanted them to go undefeated all the way through, and I would stand on an argument of it's the best team of all time. But I don't have that argument anymore. But I also don't care that they lost the game because I think it makes them really dangerous because all these things that they've had problems with, twist on the D line for the offensive line to, block a twist front. That was a problem against Indiana. Indiana exploited that. Indiana, dialing up pressures and doing things like that, exposed them. Exposed Julian Sand for not pushing the ball all the way down the field. Those are things that I feel like if Ohio State makes the right moves, they could correct all of them. And I don't think Georgia is good enough to really pressure Ohio State's offense to be perfect. Not on the defensive side of the ball. I just mean, honestly, truthfully, does Oregon or does Georgia have a top 5 offense in college football? No. Do they have a top 10 offense in college football? No. Do they have a top 25 offense in college football? Maybe, but it's right there on the edge. It's not like they're just blazing. So what that means to me is how many points, honestly, how many points do you think Oregon or Georgia can put up against Ohio State? 10? 12? Maybe 14? So it's can Georgia's defense, which is a top 25 defense, but I really don't think they're a top 25 defense. They might be playing better now. You're taking the whole scheme of the whole season and you're trying to base it into one game off of total offense, total defense, and stuff like that. But is Oregon's defense good enough to hold Ohio State to 10 points, 14 points, 16? I just don't think so. Now, I think it's going to be a blockbuster type game. I think it could be 21-10, but Ohio State pulls away late. I just don't think Georgia has enough for Ohio State, personally. And I really try to take the biasness out of it and just look at the teams and say, hey, this is a more complete team. Them and Indiana have been talked about as being the most complete teams all year. And it's Georgia's been talked about as being a struggle team, and I know they've gotten better, but it's not like they've been pitching shutouts and scoring 40 a week.
I hate to be biased towards my own picks, but in August, I said
you did pick Georgia.
I thought Georgia would win the national championship.
Yeah.
So I got to ride with them. I mean, I've been wrong about a lot of things.
I honor you for riding with your team. That's a big thing. A lot of people don't do that.
I got to ride with them. And I hate Georgia, okay?
Yeah.
I hate Kirby Smart. I hate his bowl cut. They're barking at people. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Whenever they had Carson Beck, I really hated Georgia. Really hated Georgia.
For sure.
I hated Georgia. But the way I could see Georgia winning this game is forcing Julian Sand to make decisions, kind of what we said with Carson Beck. You got to get pressure on Julian Sand. But you can't do what Michigan did and walk your defense up and get beat on a 4th down. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Because then it makes you back up, and then they're able to hit the RPO, and that's what's killed everyone Ohio State has played all year was just slants and digs and bubbles. And so Georgia would have to play a great game defensively. They have to get pressure. They have to force some kind of mistake. And offensively, they have to be able to run the ball and not 40-yard runs, not 50-yard runs. I'm talking like we need an average carry of like 3.5 yards.
Yeah.
You gotta run the ball, but you can't kill Ohio State's defense with the run. You just got to get 3.5, 4 yards, keep Ohio State's offense off the field, win the game 17-10. That was what would have to happen. I think it's a tall task either way. I think it's a tall task to beat Georgia. I mean, at the end of the day, I think Kirby Smart is one of the top 3 head coaches in college football. So his team's always going to be prepared. They're always motivated. And I'll say this about Georgia. Georgia is one of the more athletic teams I've seen in college football this year, just as far as their speed and their violence to an extent. But I think they're playing a team that's the same way. I think Ohio State's more athletic at certain spots. I think they're more violent at certain spots. But I got to ride with what I said in August. I got to pick Georgia. Yeah, I got to pick Georgia. I got to pick Georgia the whole way, actually. I mean, I know that I just took all the suspense out of my national champion pick, but I got to ride with Georgia on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you for sticking with your pick because Georgia has not looked like the best team all year. I'm not going to say they're not going to win. I just don't see them beating. I just don't see them beating Ohio State. So me personally, I think it's going to be Ohio State, Indiana in the national championship. 2 Big Ten teams in the national championship. It's kind of been like that since about week 5 that Indiana and Ohio State were 1-2, and everybody's been saying, yeah, they haven't played anybody, but they're doing what they're supposed to do against the teams that they have played. When Ohio State did play Michigan, they came out and beat them, and then they kind of laid an egg against Indiana. I don't think that it was the players that laid an egg. I think it was the offensive coaching staff that laid an egg. And our offensive coordinators get ready to leave. I'm not making excuses. I do think that Ohio State versus Indiana in the national championship game, I think Ohio State's athletes come out and really show like, hey, y'all are good, but it is different. And we're different. And we choked against y'all last time, but we got to show y'all how, we're Ohio State for a reason. And I think Ohio State goes back-to-back. That's kind of something that after I figured out that Julian Sang could play and our defense was legit, that's something that I've been saying all year. I might not have said it on the podcast because I'm a big person that believes in like jinxing and like stuff like that. So I try not to say it. Said it to Mason a few times. I've said it to, multiple people all outside of the podcast, but that's just my opinion. I think Ohio State goes back-to-back.
In the national championship game, which, by the way, why are we not playing the national championship game in the Rose Bowl?
I don't know. I am glad, though. I am glad because it seems like every year Georgia gets into the playoffs over like the last 4 years. Somehow they always miraculously play it in the Peach Bowl. And it's like, I'm glad they did switch it up this year. Do you feel the same way?
They play in Atlanta all the time.
Like
them and Alabama both play in Atlanta a bunch.
Yeah, it's like Ohio State had to play Georgia, and it's like, oh, it's in Atlanta. It's like, okay, that's bullshit. And then like the next year,
LSU's natty was in New Orleans, by the way, too.
Yeah, and which that's kind of something that's like that's preset, but like you can't sit here. Yeah, I don't know. It's like it seems like every year they make it to the playoff. Didn't they play Notre Dame in Atlanta last year?
No, it was in Louisiana. It was in New Orleans because they had that attack.
Oh yeah. You're right. It just seems like anytime Georgia plays in the playoffs, I'm just like, okay, are they going to play in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl? And it's like, oh yeah, they are this year. This year they won't.
This year. This year the Peach Bowl is on the other side of the bracket. So
yeah.
But in a situation where Georgia and Indiana are playing in the national championship, kind of similar to how I would see this going with Ohio State, Indiana. I think Georgia is more athletic. I think the coaching matchup is not. I don't think Kirby Smart's a worse coach than Curt Cignetti. I think Kirby Smart's a decent motivator. I just think Curt Cignetti's hot right now, and obviously you got to say Curt Cignetti's one of the best coaches in college football because of it's Indiana. But I think Kirby Smart's right there too. I like Gunnar Stockton just as much. I'm not impressed by Fernando Mendoza. Every time I've watched him, I've been
I'm not either.
Like, he's okay. He's not a bad college football quarterback. I didn't think he was bad at Cal. I thought it was a good pickup by Indiana. Obviously, it turned out to be a good pickup. But going into the Big Ten preview, we talked about I thought Fernando Mendoza was a decent quarterback. But I think that's what he is, decent. Yeah. I don't like their receivers a whole lot. I think Georgia would have I think if Georgia makes it to this game, Georgia is going to win the national championship. And that's not even – I think Georgia's a better team than Indiana. I think Georgia's biggest test is Ohio State or Ole Miss. Like Ole Miss, Ohio State. That's kind of – I will say this. Georgia kind of got screwed on their draw. They got to play a motivated Ole Miss. And then if they win, they got to play Ohio State, who's been number one all year. And then they have to play, I don't know. That's pretty tough draw compared to like Oregon, who would have to play an unproven Texas Tech, JMU, and then they would have to play Indiana. But I think Georgia's just the more athletic team. I don't think they're as well coached necessarily. Like, they make more mistakes than Indiana, penalties and turnovers. But I got to ride with them again. I don't know. I got to ride with them. I think they're going to win. I think they would win. I'm picking Georgia. I'm confidently picking Georgia to win the national championship.
I don't mind. I mean, I could see why you would pick them, and I'm glad that you're riding with the pick. With all that being said, Mason, I think there is a game that I don't know exactly what day, but it's probably going to be bigger than the playoffs. If we talked about this game, it would be the biggest game all season long if we talked about this game in August and the beginning of September. Do you want to know what game I'm talking about?
What is it?
I'm going to give you one more hint, and then you're going to pick it, and then I'm going to tell you if you're wrong, which you're probably going to be wrong. Well, you might not be. It involves two teams with two mascots that are animals. Big game. If we talked about this game in August or September, it would be probably the biggest game of the whole season. If we talked about it then. Now means absolutely nothing. One team fired.
Clemson?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
No, it's that one, because you think about it. I've seen that being a bowl game, and I'm like, dude, imagine if we would have seen that at the beginning of the year. Like, that was like 2-5. We both had, or you had Penn State winning the Big Ten. We both had Clemson winning the national or not winning the national championship, but making a really hard run. Like, those were two teams that we both had in the top 5, and you had them maybe 1 and 2, and I had Clemson 1 or 2 too. It's just crazy to think about how those teams like just completely deep dove like their season.
So one last thing before we get off here. I did create a tournament bracket challenge on ESPN. So if you have the ESPN app, look up 3 Deep South Tournament Challenge. The password is 3 Deep South with a capital T. You can join. You can compete with us. It's probably going to be some of our friends and maybe some family. But I want everybody to everyone, if you watch this, go fill out your bracket. I want to see who you pick. We only allow 1 entry per user, because we're not soft around here. You ride with who you pick, okay?
Yeah.
There's not going to be no second chances, none of that. But I do want to see if you do watch this. I mean, I know we average about 10 viewers an episode, so we're not, talking to the masses here. But of those 10 people, go fill out a bracket. Go join our group. I want to see everybody's opinions on this. I'm about to send it to a bunch of people.
Hey, and I'll tell somebody, whoever's listening, whoever's watching, if you win, I'll personally Cash App you $20.
$20?
$20. Except, like Mason, I'm not sending you $20, but like our viewers and our listeners, I'll cash app you $20. You got to like, and you got to subscribe, and you got to follow us on, our social media platforms, mainly Facebook or Instagram. But you can't just win it and then
Facebook too.
Yeah. Yes, I will cash app whoever wins. Now I'm not, if it's a tie, I'm not cash apping 4 people $20. But spread the word, tell your people. I mean, all you're doing is filling out a bracket and liking and subscribing to our Instagram or our YouTube, liking and subscribing to our YouTube, and then following us on Instagram or Facebook. You can tell you Christmas is coming up. Or I guess it's not going to be before Christmas, or you're going to have to fill it out before Christmas. But you have at least a day and a half to tell everybody. You can get your grandma to make one, your grandpa to make one, this person, that person. You get 15 people to make one. But I'm not sending you the money unless I see new subscriber, Grandpa so-and-so, or Granny who and who.
You'll have to send us screenshots.
Yeah, we have to see. We have to see that you're liked and subscribed. But if you win, I'll cash app you $20.
I'm not holding up that deal because I have no money, but I want to wish everybody we'll see you before Christmas.
Yeah.
We will see you before Christmas.
Yeah,
but
we'll be here Sunday. We were going to be here last
happy week.
Yeah. We were going to be here last Sunday, but there really wasn't anything to talk about. So there was really no point in me and Mason getting on here, talking to each other for 5 minutes and then getting off. So, but from now on, I think the only time we're not going to do a show on Sunday is probably
after the season.
Yeah, after the season. That's what I was going to say. Probably after the season. I know I'm going to be in Colorado that Sunday after the playoff games. The 3rd. I'm going to be in Colorado the 3rd, but I might be able to get on and talk. I might not be visible, but I should definitely be on.
We will figure it out, guys. I hope everybody has a good rest of your week. Make sure you get your Christmas shopping done. I'm talking to myself on that one. I have not done anything I need to do.
Yeah, you better hurry up. And if you want to
win, talking to, get to it.
Yeah, if you want to win $20, do what I said. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. And then you have to win. And we'll figure out who won. Make sure you're subscribed and liked to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. And I'll cash app you $20.
But everyone, we appreciate it. Even if you don't want to win the $20, like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Follow us on Facebook. That's where we're kind of the most active. Follow us on TikTok too. I'm really trying my best to care about TikTok.
That's so hard to get on there and do that, but I need to do better too.
Yeah. But I'm really trying my best to care about it. But go follow us there anyway. Eventually, whenever I stop being lazy about it, we're going to start going live on TikTok too. I just haven't went through all the hula hoops you got to do it. But anyways, everyone have a great rest of your week. We will see you Sunday. Enjoy your playoff.